Well, how do you do, everybody? I'm sitting here with, I'm Chris Westfall, and I'm sitting here with my good friend and fellow investor, Doug Norton, from Sarasota, Florida. And Doug's from Oshkosh, and he'll tell you more about that. And I just wanted, why don't you bring us up to date on how your business is doing, Doug?
Okay. Well, as you mentioned, Chris, for all of you that don't know, I'm Doug Norton. I'm from Oshkosh, Wisconsin. I've been investing about as long as you have, I think. I got serious about the short sale business in about 2002. I bought my first house for a rehab and then quit my job, I think, the very next day. And have been doing real estate full time since then. Very early on in your investing career, we were both lucky enough to find Jeff and get involved in the short sale business. What really interested me about the short sale business was the fact that it's a very systemized business.
Right.
While things change from time to time, the general processes remain the same. And start off with marketing. I mean, you're kind of the marketing god. I remember you were getting 400 to 500 leads
A month.
a month.
Every month, yep.
Yeah, and right now we're generating about 100 a month, on average about 25 a week. And like you and I were discussing earlier, I've sort of internalized my businesses a little bit. I actually have 5 separate businesses that all sort of complete the wheel of the short sale investor. I have a negotiating company, I've got a management company, a home buying company. I also happen to be a licensed broker, so I have a brokerage and some agents. And then most recently I've started a nonprofit agency that helps people remain in their home, or even if they can't remain in their home, it allows them to stop the foreclosure and not end up losing their house at the foreclosure or sale at the courthouse steps, but it allows them to kind of move on their own terms. What's been going on with your business?
Well, we don't have 5 businesses going because we don't have the nonprofit part of it, although since you've now pioneered that, we're going to look into some more. But our real estate business is doing very, very well. We have about 30 listings. We have sales that are pending on about 20 right now. And the real estate business, as you know, it offsets and helps to create a little bit more money in the business. Mm-hmm. So what we're doing is still we're identifying other ways of marketing besides the yellow letter. We still do the yellow letter, but we're also spending more time on expired listings.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it seems to be a very good niche because generally, it goes a full year before it becomes expired.
Right.
And that tells us, it's automatic, that property is overpriced. Why is it overpriced? Probably because it's over leveraged, which is a natural resource for us. So that's kind of a wrap up of how our business is going. And the one thing that I've noticed, Doug, and probably the reason that we're sitting here today is because this probably is maybe the 20th Jeff Kaller boot camp that we've been to, where we meet on every year, several times a year.
Yeah, I'd say at least 20.
Yeah.
What I found really interesting about all of the boot camps that we go to is that we're not here to learn the basics. We know the basics, we understand the basics.
Right.
We probably teach the basics.
Yep.
But the thing is that I learn things from you and your business partner, Jim. Every time we get together, we kind of sit down and have lunch and sort of rehash what I'm doing in my business, what you're doing in your business. And I guess at the boot camps, we're always looking for that, we call them the nuggets.
Nugget, right.
And those little things that it might not be something that we heard that's completely new, but when you go to these boot camps, you tend to get overloaded with information, and you go back and you implement a lot of the items. And many times there's things that just sort of get passed by, or the timing isn't right. But the one thing I love about getting together with you guys and the other people in Jeff's organization is that, we're really able to grab those nuggets and implement them. And we always generally leave one of these events certainly more, a little more juiced up or charged than we have previously. And we're able to implement those little nuggets to make our business run that much better. It's the fine tweaks that have really helped me become successful in this business.
Right. And that was a great point that you brought up just now. Not only the nuggets that come out of there, but the energy that we bring home and bring back to the office. And everybody has an opportunity in the office, to expand and on our experience that we just brought back. And that nugget, by the way, there's nuggets over the years that have increased our bottom line $50,000, $75,000 a year.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and I thought you were going to come out and probably double or triple that amount, just from the little things that we pick up. You've been a realtor and a broker
Yes.
for a long time.
Yep.
And I've been a broker for maybe 3 or 4 years now.
Right.
And that's something that sort of played into our business quite well. That kind of became, I think that really, for me, that came from a nugget. Because when you know as well as I do, when we started in this business, you didn't tell anybody that you were a realtor if you happened to be one. And that was sort of kept hush-hush. And then as the industry has changed, it's become a lot more important for people to not necessarily become a realtor or a broker, but really align themselves with a realtor
Absolutely.
or a broker. Because
Absolutely.
especially when we're dealing in the high-end homes, there's very few people that are out there buying $1 million, $2 million, $3 million homes for sale by owner. So that's really helped us to add credibility to who we are and what we do, and the professionalism that we exude to the general public.
Right.
That is generally going through a foreclosure. We hope they're going through a foreclosure for their first time, and we provide a lot of comfort to them
Right.
when they understand that we've been through it. How many houses have you bought so far? Do you know?
Since 7 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not. We should do that. We should track that sometime.
Yeah.
But it's 300 or 400.
Yeah, I'm just over 400,
Yeah.
and that really helps you. And 95+% of those have been in foreclosure. So what that really does is when I sit down with a homeowner, any question they ask me about the process, the principles, the problems, anything about that, I can confidently talk to them about. Fortunately, it didn't take me 400 houses to figure that out.
Right.
After about 10 houses, you realize that all these deals are pretty much the same, but none of them. You and I have talked about this before.
Yeah.
None of them are ever exactly the same.
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
still waiting for a real estate deal to go down exactly the way the last one did.
And chances are it will never happen.
I'm still waiting.
Yeah, because it's that is what's so unique about the business.
Yeah.
Is-
And a lot of people have asked me, Doug, why do you keep going back to these events? And I think something we talked about a little bit, but it's really how charged you get. It's not every day that I can sit down and talk to people about what I do and how I do it, because most people aren't in the right frame of mind. They've got too much of that head trash going on, where it's really nice to sit down with people that have a good entrepreneurial spirit and good communication skills, that understand the strategies and the dealings that I'm dealing with on a daily basis. And we teach a lot to each other. We learn a lot from each other. That's really what I find very special about our relationship, and the fact that we're able to get together a few times a year at Jeff's events.
And you know what? We both realized after being to other events before we met Jeff, how important it is that our mentor was doing the business.
Absolutely.
He could bring that to the table, and when he didn't just talk the talk, he was walking the walk, and that is so important.
Yeah. And it's funny because you've seen it as well as I've seen it, where we've seen people that have been working in the business suddenly stop working in the business or even on the business, and they go off and they try to start teaching other people how to do what we do. And it's very, very easy to see that, wow, they haven't been in the business for the last 6 months because things have obviously changed.
Right.
Now, they're not huge changes, but if you're not working in the business on a day-to-day basis, it's extremely difficult to teach the business because those nuances change. The nuggets change.
Yeah, that's right.
And Jeff has done a very, very good job of blending his ability to not only teach the subject in a
Right.
very well understood way,
Right.
but what helps him do that is he's working in the business
Right.
on a daily basis.
Right. And he's created some of the things that again, we go back to the nuggets. He's created the ability to always stay current because he has such a loyal following. There's just, people that we were around from the beginning are still
Yep.
around, and they're always adding to what we do and what we need to continue to do
Yeah.
to stay current in a although it's the same process every time, it's still a sophisticated business.
Absolutely. And that's really the thing, is that these events have helped me each time tweak my business. I treat this very much as a business, as if I were a dentist or a doctor or an accountant. We're able to really, I truly treat this like a business, as I know you do.
Right.
And that's just sort of the way you and I work. I've got several good friends in the business that this is more of a part-time thing for them. They're
Right.
not interested in staff. They're not interested in high volume, but they do. They're making $100,000 to $200,000 a year, working maybe a few hours a month, doing a couple, 3, 4,
Right.
5 deals
Right.
throughout the year. That is, matter of fact, I just talked to an agent that's been doing this business with me about as long as I have, and he just paid for his kids' college from one deal.
Wow.
And he was just like, well, I'll eventually save for college. And well, this kid went to college, and he's actually going to Madison, where I went to school.
Right.
And he said, well, it's time to pay for college, and he went out and he did a house, and college is now paid for.
Yeah, it's
So,
awesome. And there's not many businesses where you can say that and do it, and it really happens. We make it.
It's funny. I talked about how I choose to have employees and how I choose to really treat it like a business. And I tell all of my employees, don't become numb to the numbers, because you've seen it, we've all seen it. It's $15,000 is a lot of money before you start working in this business. And then I have employees all the time going, do we really have to do that deal? There's only going to be $15,000 in profit in it.
Shame on them.
But it happens. It's
Yeah.
like, well, maybe we'll focus on the $40,000
Yeah.
deals when it's still $15,000.
And like you said, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
That's a
Absolutely.
new car.
Yep.
It makes a difference in everything we do.
Yeah, and it's just having and it's not that we're doing anything magic, it's just that we have the knowledge to be able to put all of the right pieces in place in an effective way that allows us to generate that kind of check consistently,
Yep.
which is really great.
Well, you know what, Doug? As usual, it's wonderful to be with you again, and I look forward to the next 20 events.
It's always good seeing you, Chris.
Yep.